All right, we have Carol McKenna here. She's from RS Settlement Services. She's the one who did the recording for this one. So just to give you a little bit of background, this is for 210 and 208 Bedford Court in Portsmouth. And I'm going to show you the map right here. So this is 210 Bedford that's highlighted in purple. And right here next to it, where my little hand is 208. And they were sold together and they were a foreclosure property. The lot line was not erased. So because it was a foreclosure, in an ideal world, and Lucy can attest to this because, you know, we like Lucy. In an ideal world, you would want to write, you know, two separate contracts for two separate parcels. Of course, the foreclosure company was not going to want to let us do this. So in order to preserve the lot line, because as we all know, once a lot line is erased, it makes it very difficult to put a lot line back once it is erased. It's almost impossible to put a lot line back. Carol, you got anything to say about that?
Yep. Hi, Rebecca.
Hey.
The important thing here is that even though the legal description says lot numbered 13 and 14 upon the revised subdivision plan of wherever, those two lots had separate tax parcel IDs, which means that they were never merged. So the lot line was never vacated. So they remain two separate lots. The seller side would not separate. In other words, create a new legal description, one that said lot thus and so, and the next that said the other lot. They would not do that. So basically, we had to make sure that both tax map numbers were on the deed and both addresses.
Right.
But it is not necessary to have two separate contracts.
Correct. So this is all happening on a Friday. Okay. So the investor wanted to purchase this, and it was kind of like one of those things where, like, where do I look for this? How am I going to find this out? So we're digging through. It's a Friday afternoon. We're trying to get this offer in. You know how quickly things move in real estate when you're trying to find things. So we pop over to the tax data maps in the city of Portsmouth, click here, and we're able to pull up the city assessment map. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. And we're able to pull over here, and we have 210 Bedford, which is the lot. Is that the lot?
Yep,
that is the
lot.
That is the lot. And we're gonna see that it has its own instrument ID and it has its own legal description. Okay. So scrolly. Come on now. So, and it's going to have its own tax ID, its own tax legend,
and its own assessment.
And it has its own assessment value. Okay, it has its own parcel ID. So I can click restart my search here. I agree. So if you look for 208, and again, it's all about where to search for it. This is the only reason that we won this one, is because we had, you know, a multiple offer situation going on, right? So I have my own, this is 208, the other one. It has its own assessed value, its own parcel map, its own instrument ID. It's the only reason I was able to figure out its own legal description. It's the only reason I was able to figure out that this lot line had not been erased, that it had its own legal description recorded in the city. that I was like, okay, so we have these two separate inside the city, they are recorded separately. Yes, they are owned by the same person, but technically they are separate inside the city, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Obviously, I'm not able to search land records. If you've got a good relationship with the title company, the attorney, whomever, they can search land records for you. Sometimes that takes days. If you know what you're looking at, where to find it, if you need help, please make a phone call. And the lot line had not been erased.
Hmm.
So we were able to verify that it had not been erased, make this offer. Then the question comes in, how do I preserve this lot line? Because if it gets recorded that they are the same, one and the same, and this, say, as this one is lot 14, and the other one is lot 13, I don't want them to become lot 14 or 13 and 14 and become the same legal description.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? I want them to maintain their own identities as two separate tax IDs. They can be recorded on the same deed, but they need to maintain their separate tax identifications.
Sure.
So now, in an ideal world, I want them on two separate contracts, on two separate things. So we had to finagle with it. So here is our other provisions as to what we came up with.
Okay.
So we ended up having our two separate parcels, IDs, to be deeded separately.
And this is how
Now-
you were able to do it on one contract.
On one contract, two separate parcels.
I have a
Deeded-
question for you.
Yes.
How much information did the listing agent put in the listing to help with or because we know here it could be none, it could be some.
Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Because they're
Wow.
exempt from disclosure. It is a foreclosure property.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay,
It was
gotcha.
through the bank, so they wouldn't change
Yeah,
any,
okay.
they wouldn't give any information at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Absolutely zero. Jack all. So we got nothing to work with. So now the bank wanted the buyer to use their title company and wanted to demand that the buyer use their title company because the bank is from out of state.
Oh.
Well, as we know, in Virginia, you can't do that to a buyer.
Right.
Great for
Require
us.
You
Because
can
we're in
want all
Virginia.
you want, but you can't require it.
You can say it all you want, but you can't require it. So we get it. We win the contract and then basically push back and say, no, 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 you can't make the buyer do that. We're in Virginia, kick rocks. We're going to use who we want to use because we want to control how this deed is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
We don't trust you to do this right. And rightfully so, because they screwed it up anyways.
They did.
So take it away, Carol.
All righty, well, so in speaking with the attorney's office, they forwarded us a deed which had one tax parcel ID on it and one address and the legal description. We had to check the land records to see whether that legal description went back in the chain of title. In other words, was the deed book prior to the foreclosure deed also for the same lots, and were there two tax parcel IDs and so on. So we did go back through the chain of title, determined that legal description that includes both lots had followed through the foreclosure deed. We tried to get the attorney's office to create a new legal description for, each lot, which would basically read the same except for the lot numbers. And they refused, even though there was this provision that says that they are to be deeded separately. they would not change the legal description, which is fine because we sent them back corrections to the deed to include the second parcel ID and the second address. And that being the case, the deed that was recorded has those things on it, which makes it that much easier to create the new legal description when the buyer wants to close on the property. He can sell one property, he can sell the other property. He doesn't have to keep them both. He can sell both. They are still separate tax parcel IDs. You have a copy of the deed there, Christine?
I do. Well, I have a copy of the correction, which is here. If you can all see that.
Right, so you'll notice that on the first
And I
page
do
of
have
this,
permission to share this from the
sorry?
buyer.
well, it's public record. So on this first page, you'll notice that it has, scroll down a little bit, hon. Chrissy?
I'm scrolling.
Okay, it has one address, one tax parcel ID, and lot 14. So then you go to the next page,
Do, 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 do,
and
do.
we had to create a second page with the additional parcel. And this one is for lot 13 with its tax parcel ID. And then on to the deed.
You. Doop, 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 doop.
Okay, you'll see at the top left, tax map parcel numbers, both of them.
And, yep. Mm-hmm.
And as you scroll down, you can see under where it says see Exhibit A attached here too, the improvements thereon being known as 208 and 210. Bedford Court in Portsmouth. And scrolling on further,
Let's do.
that's all I can tell you about that deed. That there's the legal description. And it is designated as, they did not put lots because that S was not in the first legal description that they took it from. So it says lot numbered 13 and 14. However, that's still okay because it is still 2 lots by address and by tax parcel ID.
Oh, interesting. Okay, fair enough. So now on to the fun part we get to do. So now he wants to sell the lot next door or possibly build on it. So we had a survey done. Now I'm going to show you this lot again. So as you see, the one in purple is 208.
208.
Yes, sorry, I keep wanting to mix them up and go backwards.
I just know that the vacant one is 210.
Fair enough. And the vacant one is 210. And as you see, it looks like part of it goes over, right? And that is an addition that was built on it. 208 is currently being renovated. And there, kind of, you can see it through the trees right there. There's a garage right here that was a detached garage. And this little piece that's hanging over was an addition that was put on the original house. And I don't know what that is because that wasn't there when he bought it. I don't know when this picture is from. So, we had a survey done. And this says concrete now because the garage is gone. It's just a concrete pad now. And I don't know if you guys can read all these little tiny numbers on here. I can zoom way in. So what we've got is on the, I have to move this little thing on mine. On the, here we have about 79.8 feet of road frontage. We've got 4.5 feet of overage of the building, but we've got 5.4 feet of the eaves hanging over. into the 210 lot, which is lot 13. And we've got 80 feet on the back side of the lot, and we've got about 195 feet deep of the lot, which is a total lot square footage of about 15,500 square feet.
About a third of an acre.
About a third of an acre. So, that's what we've got for this one. So he either wants to, so we're gonna have to move this lot, right? To make this other one buildable, because we're gonna have a setback of some nature, right? For building a new house, right? So we got to get this lot line moved over in order to get the house here out of the lot line, right? So we're gonna have to move this lot line on the right-hand side over into the other lot line. So we're gonna have to make lot 13 smaller. So we're gonna have to do a re-subdivision of lot 13 and give part of lot 13 to lot 14, right?
Which involves vacating the current lot line and creating a new one. You can
Correct.
create a new lot line, but if you don't vacate the old lot line, you've got no man's land.
Right. So, dun, 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 dun. So we had the surveyor go out and do this survey for us so we could figure out where we're at. So now the city of Portsmouth, we tore down the garage, but the city of Portsmouth is gonna want this concrete pad moved in order, we're gonna have to tear out the concrete pad in order to do all this stuff and yada, yada, yada. So the city of Portsmouth actually makes it pretty easy to apply for a re-subdivision. So,
I have a question.
yeah,
Why do they care about that concrete pad?
because
In other words,
the city of Portsmouth is an absolute pack of weirdos. So, they want that, okay, that's not true, but the city of Portsmouth actually makes it really easy. So if you're going to build in the city of Portsmouth, they actually have pre-planning meetings where prior to you doing a re-subdivision, making architecturally stamped plans, they actually have pre-meetings that are set up where you can have rough drafted plans, draw on your own survey, go to these pre-planning meetings with city council members and be like, hey, this is what I was thinking of doing. And they will help you write on your own plans, set up your paperwork, give you ideas of what they want to see so that you can take it to professionals, have it drawn up, and know that it will most likely get through city planning before you even start the process. They actually make it very easy to do. So they don't want to see things like that on the lot because it means that there was already something over there. It looks like it belongs to the other lot. They don't want to see something that they think you're gonna bury it. Like they want to see a very clean lot to start with. They want it to look like it's already prepped and ready to go.
uh-huh. Okay.
They want to see a clean slate when they come and look at it. Like they want you to look like a professional out of the gate, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just kind of like one of their weird unwritten rules. So if you go to the City of Portsmouth website, they make it very easy to do a subdivision, right? So they have a minor subdivision and a major subdivision. So if you are doing 10 or few lots, it is considered a minor subdivision. So a minor subdivision is going to be like moving a lot line. That is, you're going to fill out the form. Okay. If you're doing a major one, you're going to fill out the major one. Here's a copy of the minor subdivision form. You're going to fill this out. Easy peasy. You're going to fill out this property address, your date, parcel ID numbers, that it's being affected, the number of lots, does it have, is it gonna have a new right of way? How many feet of depth, average lot size? All of the things that you know about this lot. They try and make this as clean as possible for you. There's some things that you're not going to know, but that's also why they have these pre-planning meetings so that you can go in there and kind of see how to do this. They will try to help you to the best of their ability. These pre-planning meetings are also great for finding out, like, especially if you're trying to do a new construction project, they will tell you point blank, we don't want to see wooden shutters, or we don't want to see vinyl shutters. We would prefer wooden shutters, or this style of shutter, or we're tired of seeing 6/6 vinyl windows. You know, it's, and if you take a Google on, you can find the minutes from the already approved type of plans that they have, and you can read through their other city council meetings and read through their minutes on their conversations that they've had with other builders and what they're approving and what they're not approving, down to the colors that they're approving on other houses. So this is your application for moving lot lines, the dimensions, the cross streets, all of it. So, and as we did before, we come over here, we pull up our little map here. We check our zoning. We are GR, which is, and if we come over here for GR and our description, sorry, I have to keep moving this little black bar on my screen. GR is going to be general residential in the municipal library, which is general residential is the district established to accommodate primarily single family detached and attached residential 2 to 4 family dwellings. So you can technically build multifamily on it. They prefer single family, you know. So their municipal code is not the easiest to search in. Just be forewarned. If anybody would like these links, I can paste them into the chat. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and paste all of these into the chat for you guys real quick. Just so that you have them. Because it gets a little weird. So it is general, and let me give you the real estate assessors, the tax map, because these are not exactly easy to find. And here is your subdivision. Boop. So, and on this subdivision one, there is this really cool button right here where you can ask the city of Portsmouth any question you want about subdividing property, and they will answer you. They also have on here a table of fees so that you can figure out how much it costs. They have exceptions to subdividing. They have preliminary plans. They also have, I'm trying to remember where it is. Okay, so they also have a planning staff that you can consult with prior to submitting any plans at all. You are allowed to ask them any questions you want. You are allowed to consult with them. That is what they are there for. They are very nice. I've talked to them on the phone multiple times. They are there to help you. So we're back in here. again, you can build a house, you can build whatever you want. The issue then comes in with their municipal code is not clear. You have got to call down there and get clarity. So here's where it comes in. So we are in to find out what we can build there and how big this is. This is where it gets confusing. So we need to find out what the minimum lot size is, right? So here's where we're going to jump back and forth a little bit, guys. So we're GR up here, right? Single family detached, minimum lot size, 12,500. Lot width, right? Great, 75 feet. That's a lot width. It doesn't say road frontage. Nothing says road frontage. Okay? Front yard setback, 30 feet. Side yard setback, 10 feet. Well, luckily I know the definition of side yard setback, which is the dwelling has to be 10 foot from the lot line. Right? The rear setback is 30 feet from the lot line. Maximum building coverage is going to be 45% of the lot. Maximum height square or foot is 36 feet. And then it starts to get a little bit convoluted. So, but with the lot width is 75 feet. But then we get into, if I try and look for road frontage, it doesn't actually give me a road frontage. There is no definition in their municipal code for how much road frontage I need on a lot. It just says 75 feet. Is the lot width. So if I pop back over here and I've got 5.4 feet and I've got 79 feet here and it's general residential, it doesn't look like it's big enough, right? However, if I pop over to here, into here, I've got another one just down the way, which is 105 Bedford Place, right? Which is zoned general residential. Okay, lot 9, Bedford Place, which is 1.7 acres. If I go over to my matrix and zoom out a little bit, there's 107 or 109. Let me see. Oh, here it is. And I go to the parcel map. I got 7,800 square feet. And I know for a fact that this was subdivided in 2018. Same zoning. They are 50-foot lots. All of them. And they were subdivided in 2018. And they all have the same exact zoning. And every last one of them have 50 feet. So which rule is it? And they're in Portsmouth.
They're on the same street.
They're on the same street. And they were subdivided in 2018. These ones aren't 75 feet. That's not 75 feet. That's not 75 feet. So now I've called down to the city of Portsmouth and they said that that 75 feet is not the requirement. So if I go back to the minimum lot. Okay. So we're just not gonna take me back there? Oh, okay. We're just gonna have an absolute breakdown. Wow, it's literally just gonna have an absolute breakdown of where it was. Okay. That's okay. That's okay, little buddy. We're just gonna go back into our chat and pull it back up. Huh. Well, this is, yeah, it's just, it's not an easy system to use. Because, you know, Portsmouth. So we can find the table. I think I can just search GR. Go away. And I want the table though. Okay. Or you could just forget a bunch of you. All right, well, so, but that's where we're at. And where is the table? Oh, there we go. And you can see when the ordinances did change. So the ordinances have only changed in 1973 and 1988. So, and I know that they do make some allowances sometimes for certain things. And then of course, they did have a density, they did allow Ryan Homes to build their build that is much tighter. I think that Ryan Homes has a build over there that has 30-foot lots. So it makes it a little bit different. Yeah, and then the cost to have the surveyor draft the re-subdivision. I'm not sure how much it's gonna cost for title yet, because I haven't gotten that portion of it. But for the surveyor to come out, for a surveyor to come out and redraft that and do this submission to the survey side, they do the submission for you to the city of Portsmouth, draft all of that for the moving of the lot line. They help with the city, they do the presentation to the city, that whole nine. It's about $2,500 to move that lot line. So, do you guys have questions?
I'm just, I don't, it's not really a question, but I'm just wondering if it's because of where within this, like the actual location within the city that it is, as to why they're saying 50 is okay versus 75, you know? Because you know how Portsmouth is split up and where, you know, if you're downtown, there's certain
Mm-hmm.
guidelines, especially with the exteriors and how they look, the historical properties. So I'm wondering if it's because it's on the like closer to Chesapeake line or whatnot.
It might be. Their city, their municipal code is very, very hard to read. They don't have enough, while they do make it easy to talk to them and stuff, they don't necessarily have an answer. If
Yeah,
that,
no, they kind of do what they want. It's whatever they're feeling at the time, I feel.
Yeah.
Based on what I know.
it is. It is. It is. It is very much how they feel about, haha, I found you again. This thing.
Yeah, going through that was a hot mess. Everything is kind of everywhere.
It is. It is kind of a hot mess. Interesting. Yeah, they don't really.
I
Let
mean, I
you.
know that they have the historic district, kind of like, resort districts and things like that's clearly defined. Um, but the rest of the city is kind of just like, just let us know if it's going to look good. We'll let you know if we
It's
like.
kind of a free for all. Then I think that they kind of let that other neighborhood be built because it's a very nice, they're very nice homes. So depending on what you're gonna build, Portsmouth will kind of let like I personally know one of the superintendents that was at, I'm trying to find that daggone, it disappeared on me. Um uh thank you. I personally know one of the one of the guys who was one of the superintendents over at that Ryan Holmes site, like over by Craddock, that they were building a couple years ago. And he is since no longer with Ryan Holmes. And City of Portsmouth really did not like Ryan Holmes. And I mean, we've talked about that at length, but they gave them a very hard time on getting their permits. Um, and I do not think they were happy with the quality that was being put out at that time. And so the city of Portsmouth, once they started building, it was, they had a very hard time getting that done. And it was, and other people who have built in Portsmouth have not had that hard of a time. So I think that depending on what you're building and the quality that you're building, if you are bringing value, Portsmouth will make allowances for certain things to be built. Like if you are bringing value and it is a nice thing that you are building that can sell for more money, and you are attracting, great a great thing for taxes for the city of Portsmouth, like they're absolutely going to allow you to build that thing. You know what I mean? Why would they not?
Right.
You know,
That's what they do. Did you find out who the builder was for the 2018 neighborhood?
I was not, I did not dig that deep. I could probably, I would have to call down to to land records in Portsmouth and ask them to pull it, because the permits only have to stay on record online for 3 years. Land records would have that. I might be able to pull it up in the MLS, but I know this is being recorded, so I was trying not to like show you guys that, like the actual MLS too long, so that it didn't have to have the video be cut. Is there anything else that we would have to do, Carol, to get this lot line recorded properly?
I think we lost them.
No, we
Their little square is gone.
Oh no. I don't know where she went. I know that we would have to I don't know that I think we would have to re-record the deed. So,
I don't know, but it would be a good one for a follow-up as this
I
one
know.
continues.
Um, so I do believe we'd have to re-record a new deed once we remove that lot line. Um, mm, hang on one second, guys. And then, so once the lot line is removed, I believe we have to re-record a deed on the title side, in order to, you know, makes the most sense. But,
Yeah, that seems like what she was saying.
I do believe that's what she was saying. Obviously that's not my land. Just, I send it to them and they do what they do, right? So I'm sad we lost her.
Yeah, and can you just what did the survey guy say about how long that process might take?
Oh yeah, that's right. He said it takes about 4 weeks. He said he's seen it take up to 6. He said that the more prep you do, like as far as like the land goes, as far as what you tell them that you want to do with it, as far as future plans go, like if you like if we submitted, like if we get our ducks in a row and we're like, hey, we want, if we didn't want, like let's say we're like, oh, we're not going to sell this lot, we want to build this beautiful house, and we show them a plan of a beautiful house that they're like, absolutely, we want you to build that beautiful house in our city, they are more likely to give us that subdivision. Like he's done, the nice survey man has done, he's with Alpha Tech, has done a lot of subdivisions in the city of Portsmouth. And he was like, yeah, he's like, the more information you give them on what you want done, and the more that you say you're going to control this build, and the more that you are like, this is what we're putting there, this is what it's going to look like, the more likely they are to approve the subdivision. Especially if it's not like if they're saying it has to be 75 feet, but you see other ones that are 50 feet and you're like, okay, well, this one's 50 feet. If I keep this and I build this, will you give me this? They're more likely to say yes if you submit architecturally approved plans with your request, which is why we're being advised to remove the concrete pad that was the garage. If that makes sense.
Nope, that makes perfect sense.
So like if we're like, look at how pretty this house is, and we look at Portsmouth's master plan, right? Or we go to, the city council meetings and we're like, hey, what's your beautification plan? And we like kind of try to peep out what their plans are. And we go to one of their pre-planning meetings and we talk to the city council members about what they're looking for and what they would like to see this neighborhood look like. And we try to bring them something of value that they would like to see, and we submit that to them. They're more likely to be like, absolutely, please, by all means, build that. And we actually show them the elevation of what the house would look like if they let us take off, because like, let's look at this. I think I can actually annotate on this. You guys tell me if you can check out a brand new tool. Okay. Can you guys see this? If I write that, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh. So my thought was, if they'll let us do 50 feet, right? A 50-foot lot line, right? For sheer giggles, right? That's 29 feet. I don't necessarily need to do a 50-foot lot line, but I have 5 foot 4 inches, right? So if I take away 5 foot 4 inches from 79 feet, right? We'll say, we'll call it 5.5 feet, just to be on the safe side, right? From 79 feet, that's 73 feet already, okay? Plus another 10 feet, because I need to get 10 feet away. Well, you don't want to live on on top of your neighbors. So that's at 63.5 feet. So I'm going to take away another 5 feet from that. That puts me at 58 feet. So I'm going to say I need a 55 foot lot, right? From 79 feet. That's 24 feet. So if I take 24 feet from this, let's see if I can write a computer. Ooh, that was a good too. If I take away 24 feet from this, and just, I'm not good at drawing a straight line, but if I just take away 24 feet, right? To just put some space, right? Minus the 79 feet I've got. Oh my Lord Jesus. That gives me 55 feet, right? And then I need 10 feet on one side and 10 feet on the other side, right? And I just need 10 feet on this side, right? So I can just put it as close to this 10-foot mark as possible. And I just offset it, right? Like I can either, and I only need 30 feet here, right? So I can either set the house back here, so you got a huge front yard, or I set the house up here so that you don't have to be next to this house. Would you rather have a long driveway or a huge backyard? What do you prefer? What do you think?
That's an excellent question because I've seen the lot.
Yeah.
And I honestly think either way would go.
Yeah, I mean, because the driveway for this one is like on this side, right? It's like over, it's gonna be like over here, right?
Right. It pulls up right to the addition.
Yeah, it pulls up like right to the addition. I think I want to move it though. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But so this is the driveway. I'm gonna make it this color. I'm gonna make it red because now I can draw on this. So here's the existing driveway for this one. We can get rid of it, but I don't want to, I personally don't want to be up against my neighbor's house because that happens all the time. But I'm thinking if I only have to do 30 feet, right? This is 73 feet to the edge of this house, right? What's half of 73? It's 36 feet. So half of that, I could literally start the front of the house right here. And then the back of the house is right here. But then, you know what I mean? And then you have this whole giant, oh, I'm drawing on things. And then you have this whole giant backyard. Or, you know, you put the house back here and have a fence all this in and have a giant front yard. You know?
I mean, ultimately, that's going to depend on Portsmouth too, because they may not like it to not be out of line with the rest of the houses, you know?
6 of one, half dozen of another. I don't know. Don't know. Anyways, but
But it's doable. Either way.
either way, it's possible. It's possible. So that is it. That is how you preserve a lot line. Because we've all seen them where it looks like you have a double lot and then you realize that the lot line's been erased or it gets recorded improperly or, you know, or you have your client that's closing on something that is is a double lot and the lot line is not being erased. Just make sure that you are having that the title company your client is using or the attorney your client is using is preserving that lot line correctly so that your client is maintaining value in that extra lot so that when your client does go to sell in the future or not, it doesn't mean that your client can't use that lot for whatever they like. But if your client goes to sell in the future, land is worth money. What if they want to sell that lot separately in the future or need to sell that lot separately in the future? Or when they, we're a military town. What if they go to PCS somewhere else and they sell the house and they want to sell the lot separately for an extra, 30 grand? Now they have the choice because you were smart enough to preserve that lot line by making sure that it was recorded correctly. Instead of merged with that house And now they have an erased lot line that can't be put back.
Now, just to note too, just want to talk about what the surveyor said. He said that usually Portsmouth does automatically erase the line, and somehow this one went through.
Correct. Most cities will automatically erase a lot line. And I think that the only reason that I keep accidentally drawing on this. Sorry. I gotta close. Go away. So I think that the only reason that we ended up with this house is because, you know, we're highly educated. We have these classes. And let's be honest, we knew where to look to find this information to see if it still had its separate tax ID. I mean, how many of you guys before this knew how to do that? There's not a lot of
Nope.
us. There's not a lot of us that know how to do that. I'm a little sad that more people weren't in this class, but that's okay. At least you guys can go spread the word. So
This was great.
Rebecca's gonna have a one-up on everybody. So not all
Email
of this,
me. I need to take it like 3 times before it sits in.
that's okay, because you know where to go ask the question. You know what I mean?
I
But
do. And I've had some dealings with Portsmouth before, but it was like the opposite, where there was an old family plot that we needed to subdivide, and that kind of was mostly taken care of through the title company. So I didn't have to do any of the digging. This is great.
right, but like the other fun part is like there's a couple of different ways when you're dealing with families around, like if you have big parcels, like, and we're talking big parcels,
Mhm.
and you're dealing with families, there is a couple of different ways around getting through subdivision without going through certain steps that you would normally go through via gift deed of subdivision.
Okay.
So like let's say you own, 200 acres and you've got 5 kids. Just, you know what? You got 200 acres and you got 4 kids. Okay? And you give and you've got only so many feet of road frontage. You've got 500 feet of road frontage and 200 acres. I'm just making up numbers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And you give 50 acres to each kid in the back. And you draw an easement
Mhm.
in the deed for each of the 4 kids to get to their 50 acres. But you keep the front 100 acres. But there's an easement, a shared easement for the 4 kids to get to their 50 acres each. But Johnny sells his 50 acres, but the easement's drawn in because
Right.
you created 4 flag lots, right? Well, you've successfully subdivided. And Johnny sold his lot.
Mhm.
You subdivided. You didn't have to go through anything. You did a family subdivide.
Nice.
You're done. It was recorded. There's an easement. You can't stop somebody from getting to their land.
Right.
You're done.
Cool.
There's obviously you can't, I mean, technically you could give your child 1 acre of your land and record it because it's a family subdivide. Like there's so many different ways to do so many different things. And I mean, that it's not funny,
Nice.
and that's what people used to do. And that's why you see things that are like, oh, way out in the country that you're like, oh, 16 acres are for sale. I wonder if a builder could subdivide it. And they're like, no, it doesn't meet density rules. But you see another, half acre parcel next door for sale. And you're like, well, then how in the heck? Because somebody gave their granddaughter a half acre parcel of their 200 acre farm 50 years ago
Right.
and then sold it. That's exactly what happened. It was a family subdivision. And that person has the right to sell it. But you can't come in as a developer and subdivide that. It's not the same thing.
Right.
You can give it away to your family, but you can't. You like, anyways, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just it's very weird, right? Anyways, I hope this was helpful and a little bit fun.
This was great.
So
Thank you.
Anyway. You're welcome. Let me know if you have questions.
I definitely will. You know me.
I'm sure good will. So, all right, guys, have fun. Have a great day.
All right, see you later.
All right, bye.